Hey man, welcome back to another video. You already know what it is. It's your boy Jay, man. What's up with y'all? You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all had a good day, and I appreciate y'all for even clicking on the video. So without further ado, I would ask, only thing I ask of y'all is to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Let's get it. Today, we're gonna be talking about, this is a touchy subject for me because it hurts my heart to even make this comparison. But Odell Beckham Jr. is the D.Rose of our generation. Okay, now they're like, Jay, what do you mean, blase, that they're the same? Well, I hate to say it like that, but it's true, man. Now, Odell never got to an MVP trophy or an Offensive Player of the Year, which would be the equivalent, right? But, you know what I'm saying? But other than that one MVP, like the MVP is the only thing different, and kind of not really, because one got MVP, one got a ring, you know what I'm saying? So, right? But hear me out, okay? We're gonna take it all the way back to college, all right? Now, college OBJ, bro, animal. Like I told y'all in previous videos, I am an LSU fanatic, I'm an LSU fan. Even whenever I was back in school, you know what I'm saying, I got invited to an LSU camp, you know what I'm saying, and I went, I didn't care, type jump, like what, and I'm from North Carolina, and we drove all the way down there and back, you feel me? But anyway, Odell was an animal at the U, man, at LSU, right? I mean, not the U, but, he was phenomenal. And same thing with D.Rose at Memphis. They were both flashy players that got the job done. They weren't just flashy and was like mid-tier players. No. And they weren't, I get the job done and nothing else. No. Even though D.Rose was a silent, a silent assassin, really. But, he did, have a flashy game, though, if that makes sense, right? And same thing with OB. They both have viral college clips in this 2024. OB got drafted in 2014 and D.Rose in 08, right? A minute ago, right? So I'm saying that everybody remember, I don't know if y'all know, but I remember the D.Rose, hey, you know what I'm talking about that? Hey. I'll put it up here for y'all, right? And then everybody remembers the OBJ catch in the end zone, take a knee with it, that joint was clean. So I'm just saying, like, they were both respectively in their own phenomenal college phenoms, and they did it in similar fashions, right? Okay. And they both go in the first round, D.Rose being the first overall pick back in 2008, while OB was pick number 12 to the Giants in 2014, you know what I'm saying? Which was a loaded class, if I might add. Doing this research and seeing everyone who was in that class and seeing everyone that should have been somebody in that class, it's crazy. Like, I'm gonna do a video specifically on that draft class. But anyway, they were both just phenomenal. Both, won Rookie of the Year their rookie season, with OB winning Offensive Rookie of the Year and D.Rose just flat out winning the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. Like I was just saying, there's his Rookie of the Year. Then he had back-to-back 3 years in a row of being an all-star with an MVP sandwiched in between there. Then he gets hurt that 2012-2013 full season. Then he comes back, does his thing for a few years in Chicago, gets traded in a heartbreaking video to New York, tried to do a little bit in Cleveland, went in the mini for a while, then went to Detroit, then went back to New York, and did his thing there for a while until he ultimately wound up in Memphis. He started off his career, pretty healthy. Then there's the injury, as you guys can see. And then he really never even got back to roughly around 80 or 82 again. And it's just sad to see, man, because of that one injury. Well, technically two. Now, as sad as D.Rose's injury was, it goes to the same with OB. Whenever he has a great first 3 years, then the injury hits him. And then, yes, he did have some more 1,000-yard seasons sprinkled in there, but ultimately the production just never got back to what it once was, where he was once looking like potentially going to have a great career. And although he did, it's just the production and the statistics really never measured up to what we all thought could have been because of the injury and the injuries that he dealt with throughout his whole career. Now, also on top of the statistics, their best years respectfully were about each other the same year, right? With your boy D.Rose, winning MVP, his MVP season, right? Which was his third year, right? You know what I'm saying? And with OB, if his second or third year was his best year as well, right? They were both, 3-time All-Star / Pro Bowler, the All-Star for, the respective leagues, right? In the NFL, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler, and D.Rose was a 3-time NBA All-Star, right? But then guess what? Neither one of them were an All-Star or a Pro Bowler since those three, right? They were 3 in a row, bam, 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 right? And it sucks to say because what I'm about to say next. Injury. And neither were the same. When Derek had to sit out a whole season with his, and then OB only got to play a few games with his. And they were never, ever, ever the same afterwards. And it sucks. It freaking sucks, man. It really does. They were both still, professional athletes and serviceable, amazing, professional athletes. And they both had flashes that first year back. That first year back, we thought, oh, snap. That didn't do nothing to OB. His first year, well, his last year in New York, and then, Derek's, first year back, right? He was really, they both had flashes. I'm not gonna say that they both, were the same guy or way lesser than that guy they were pre-injury, right? But they both still showed flashes. When Derek would occasionally still rise up and bang one, or he would still occasionally, boom, get by you, right? And then same thing with OB. OB would occasionally, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Whoop, So it's like, I don't know, man. But then it just went, both of them, even though they were still on the decline, on their rise, they had grabbed the culture, with both palms like this and this. You know what I'm saying? That they had the East Coast and the West Coast. You feel me? And the Midwest and all that, they were scraping up with their thumbs like, yep. That's how they had everyone in their palms. I mean, seriously, even post-injury, like, I can't stress that enough. People were still, I remember, I was alive. I was old enough to remember people were still rocking D.Roses. You know what I'm talking about? Those freaking joints with the D, and pause. It had the D on it, and then like the rose around it. Bro, I remember all of that. I remember people still out here. I remember people still wanting to be like Derek. You know what I'm saying? People were still saying D.Rose. People were still putting him in songs. You know what I'm saying? He was still Derrick Rose. OBJ, people were still out here trying to catch balls like this. People were diving on trampolines like this. You know what I'm saying? And the pools like this. Telling their friend, throw it up so I can OBJ it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember all of that. That's my time, And it's like, it was crazy because they were both still on the decline. They were declining, them at that, let's say 2015, right? For OB, well, no. For Derrick Rose, that 2015, by 2015, he's not washed because he's still in the league now, right? Almost 10 years later. But I would say he just wasn't the same dude, but he was still part of the 1% of 1% athletes to make it to the NBA and be able to play. He was a backup point guard. He started in the first few years, back. Then, he ended up becoming a backup, and same thing with OB. OB was the first option still at receiver, and then, nowadays, at the second injury, just like Derek had 2 injuries, he came back and he messed it up again. Do y'all remember that? Now OB, granted it was years later, but in the Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get to that Super Bowl. But nonetheless, he ended up being a second option. And really, some of those times, some of those games, you know, some of those weeks, whenever he was in Cleveland, it really felt like he was a second option and Jarvis was the number one, if we're being real. Then, like I just said, you know, I'm about to talk about that Super Bowl because they still, at the end of the day, end up having feel-good stories, you know, where D.Rose being the youngest MVP, second youngest MVP, I forgot, was Wes Unseld? I don't know. Maybe he was the youngest. I don't know. All I know is he was 22, right? Whenever he won his MVP, right? Then, you know, the rise, you know, then boom. Then, you know, after the injury and everything, right? Same thing with OB, boom, 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 then fall, right? Well, with OB, we could start with first. You know, I mean, you don't forget those injury years, those injury prone years, but it is definitely not, you know, in the front of your mind anymore. You know, obviously Odell isn't the same guy, but he's also, you know, 2 years removed from the ACL tear. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he needed an extra. I don't know, man. It's hard to recover from those, especially at his age now. You know, he's 10 years, you know, into the league. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, after he, you know, his injury and, you know, how he left New York and everything, right? Then goes to Cleveland, and Cleveland's terrible because of, you know, everything going on with him and Baker and yada, 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 right? And then he gets traded mid-season to the Rams, and he wins the Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, yes. And he was dogging. Like, let's be real. That season, he went to the Rams. Before he got hurt, he was dogging all year. For being real, bro. Like, I remember that. You know, I really do. And then, you know, he was looking like he was going to be Super Bowl MVP before that injury, right? But nonetheless, you know, after all that turmoil, he gets his ring. Then he goes and he gets to play with his homie and Lamar after he took a year off to really recover. That's almost as feel good as you can get, you know, after a terrible start. Well, terrible to the middle of your career, you know, because a great start, then like a terrible middle, and then, you know, leave on the sunset. Not saying he has to leave anytime soon, but I'm just saying, you know, he's not looking like he will ever be a 1,300-yard receiver again. You know what I'm saying? Which sucks, you know, it really does. And then with D.Rose, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I granted this was a few years ago, but, you know, his was a few years before OB's. So what I'm saying is that, you know, with Derek, I don't know if y'all remember, he had a 50-point game, you know, a few years back. You know what I'm saying? He was on 6th Man of the Year conversations for multiple seasons. You know what I'm saying? A few years back. And I'm just saying, man, he's pretty good. And he's okay, you know, in Memphis right now. Yeah, you know, so, and it's dope that he got to go back to Memphis where he played college at all them years ago. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. In conclusion to all this, my final thing I want to say to y'all about this is just that it's like, I hope this never happens again. To where we have, I mean, and with, you know, technology now and how people heal from injuries and stuff like that, unless it's a super freak accident, you know, stuff like this doesn't happen, which is, you know, I'm so thankful for, man, because this just sucks. It sucks, man. OB is that dude in my heart, you know what I'm saying? LSU product, you know what I mean? And D.Rose is that dude in my heart because I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? Whenever he was doing all this crazy stuff. So it just, the nostalgia from it all, you know, it sucks. And I hope that we're not living through anyone's, you know, rise before the fall now. Because, man, the fall sucks. It really does. And I just hope nobody has to go through that. Anyway, man, with all that being said, I appreciate you guys for listening. I appreciate y'all for tuning in for another video. You know, we going every day. You know what I'm saying? Like an addict with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm in love with it already. So, I appreciate y'all, man. I really do, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, man. And we out. Peace.